episode 70.
Hi.
Alex King, Josh Pink, Zach Smith. How are y'all doing?
Oh, so well.
So well.
So well.
Fantabulous.
Great. I'm so happy y'all are doing well. If you're joining us on YouTube or watching with us, thank you so much. Or if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere else you get podcasts, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Just want to give a quick shout out. Prevent wildfires.
Only you.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I picked this shirt up at Ross. For like $9.
Ross?
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Come on. I'm not messing around. Well, listen, we got a big week for you today. We're going to talk about all the craziness in the Southeastern Conference. Talking about the SEC, okay?
The not a technical upset weekend.
Yeah, well, it was a technical upsweet.
Upsweet.
We got all sorts of
Upshwee-shwee.
Upshwee-shwee.
Treat Petey.
Trees, Petey, Buff Dis, all of them. We're gonna make sure. Big upsets in the world of SEC football. Why Alabama's defense pooped the bed. How come Florida isn't as good as we thought they were? Or maybe it's that A&M is actually coming into their own. It's really a
coming of age story.
Yeah, it's really a coming of age story between Kellen Mond.
Kellen Mond coming of age.
Yeah, 4 years too late,
Yeah.
but regardless.
Yeah, way too late.
Josh, what's the little synopsis of what you're going to talk to us about today?
Do you want me to do my segment
No.
first?
I was just give us a little summary. We're just going to run down.
It's a little funny story that happened this weekend that you would never
Okay.
would never expect.
That's perfect.
this to happen.
Okay, perfect. We're going to get into it. And then to finish off episode 70, Zach is going to come.
9/11 part 2.
Yeah, 9/11 part 2. The second segment of second installment of our 9/11 conspiracy series. But y'all were at the game. I want to start off with A&M football because I'm sure most people that watch or listen to this podcast go to A&M. Okay.
Yep.
So let's just assume that.
I showed up halfway
You showed up halfway. Why?
because I gotta ride the horses back.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. But I thoroughly thought that a 21 ranked A&M
Versus
up
4.
against a number 4 ranked Florida team who is all of the talk in the world in the SEC
was gonna be
was that Florida Florida was the next Georgia,
Yes.
Georgia was really going to have a hard time fighting Florida for the Eastern title. And they didn't disappoint. Everything that we saw in this game didn't show that Florida had a bad game. Yes, they had some turnovers. Yes, they had some penalties. Those things will cost you a game. But even then, even with the turnovers, even with the penalties, Florida still put up a ton of yards.
Oh, yeah.
Put
It was
up
a good game.
A ton of points. It was a great game. And I'll tell you what.
That was a drive-for-drive game for sure.
For some
Back and
reason,
forth.
this coming of age story for A&M, like we were talking about, why haven't we figured out that we can run the ball?
It ain't about how fast we get there. It ain't about what's waiting on the other side.
Well, you know what? I was getting ready to watch this game against Florida. I was ready to come on here and talk about how we need to bench Mond immediately.
Yep.
We need to
Haynes King, baby.
We need to just throw all that away. I mean, I was getting ready to stand before you and say how frustrated I was with Jimbo Fisher because we paid him all this money 3 years ago now. And by now, after year 3 or year 4, Jimbo Fisher was supposed to be at least a conference title contender. And with the way we were playing in week 1 and 2, that wasn't going to happen.
Not even close.
If we lost this game against Florida, we couldn't even win the West. And right now, we're second in the West. There's only one team ahead of us, and that's the University of Alabama in the West. That's the only team above us. Now, the teams in the East, we have some problems too because we still play Georgia. Florida is, again, second. Well, I say that. Second in the East. There's still Tennessee, and Tennessee's playing very well too.
Yep.
So the East is kind of a toss-up. Obviously, Georgia's that big number 1. The number 1s on the Eastern and the Western divisions are going to play next weekend. Georgia and Alabama. And my score prediction is going to be another high one because of the way Alabama's defense played against Ole Miss. Now, last season we did see some sparks from Ole Miss's. Is someone knocking? Oh, that's just the washing machine. Either way, last season we did see some sparks.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, it's the Skinwalkers. We did see some sparks from Ole Miss's offense last season, and they're throwing up for some big yards. They made this game a back and forth, just one punch for one punch, and until the fourth quarter, it was one touchdown per one touchdown. Just back and forth. One touchdown, one touchdown. This is the only season, I think, since the dynasty started back around like 2009, 2008, 2007-ish in Alabama, where the defense hasn't been the star of the show. Every single year, Nick Saban has a phenomenal defense, hard man coverage, just like Bill Belichick, the same schemes that he runs in college football. And this, I mean, highest scoring game in a regular season for the SEC, most yards scored in football history or in like conference history ever. Like nobody else, like total yards in a game. I mean, there was no defense in this game, and obviously the high-powered offense that Alabama has, Ole Miss doesn't stand a chance to guard that. They're really thinned out, so that's another team in the West that we're going to have to play, and that's what we're going to target. We got to target their weak defense, and we just got to run the ball down their throat like we did against Florida. So I think that Isaiah Spiller is now a Heisman candidate.
Oh yeah,
above Mond. There is no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that we continue to run him. He's the 1-2 punch with him and Anai Smith, and so they're just going to go 1-2. And I say Kellen Mond throws maybe one pass per drive, one pass per, let's say, conversion. Well, let's say one in every 4 or 5 plays he can throw the ball, because when he was able to not have as much pressure on his shoulders when we were running the ball down Florida's throat, he was able to relax because he now doesn't have as much pressure on his shoulders. Yep. Yeah. Isaiah Spiller's taken most of the load. We're going to let him be the next Derrick Henry in college football. Probably I would say the second best back in the SEC right now. That's behind Najee Harris at Alabama, who put up 5 freaking touchdowns against Ole Miss in that game, by the way. But once Kellen Mond realized that Isaiah Spiller was taking all of the workload right after about halftime, I mean, he was able to really settle down, really not force throws, not overthrow passes. He was calm. He looked good in the pocket. But, you know, I say all of that, and still, after being practically a 4-year starter for us, you would think this guy would be maybe 65 to 70%.
That's a good
You're a 4-year
average,
starter.
Yeah.
3 of those
Jimbo
years
Fisher's
are under a
too.
Jimbo Fisher's offense, and you would think, and again, Jimbo Fisher is known for his quarterback coaching ability. You would think that a person like that, a coach like that, and as talented as a person as Kellen Mond could be, the potential that we saw him at IMG, you would think that this guy would be, the next freaking Mac Jones, the next Dak Prescott in college, the next, he can do some things with his legs. He's certainly not as fast, the fastest guy on the field by any means, but we've seen him do some things with his legs. Mm-hmm. He was the leading rusher against Alabama the last 2 years, minus this one. But regardless, I think this is the coming of age story. I know a week ago on last week's episode, you asked me if I thought that the game against Vandy was kind of a
premonition.
Like a reflection of the rest of the season. I said absolutely. The question now, I guess this is the bottom line of this whole spiel, is how consistent can A&M continue to be?
Yeah, we just beat number 4.
We just beat number 4. Here's what all can go wrong. What all can go wrong is that A&M gets cocky. Kellen Mond gets cocky.
We're back.
Yeah, we take that TU attitude of winning one game against a good team. Yeah. And we think, we're back. I'm the next Johnny Manziel. We take that attitude into the next game against Mississippi State. We have to just stay locked in. I think what Jimbo Fisher should have told, I'm sure he did, but what he should have told them is just, hey, stay locked in. Don't get cocky. Don't get complacent. Obviously, celebrate the win tonight, but you got to go in Starkville against a very productive offense. I mean, again, this is in week 1. Freaking KJ Costello put up 623 passing yards and 6 touchdowns against LSU. So, our secondary is already stretched out as it is.
So bad.
We have a nasty, true freshman corner in Jalen Jones.
Yep.
And we have Leon O'Neal, who got beat deep after making a stupid, play not a stupid play. He made a stupid, mistake. He got in. He was tried to defend this dude who got hit after the play, and he tried to defend him, but then he got called because the guy always throws the second punch.
Was that the one at the end zone?
Yeah. Well,
No.
no, it happened in the middle, but he got beat deep.
Yeah, no, there was one that happened in the end zone. Just because, he got beat bad.
Yeah,
he got caught up on
yeah,
it. And then,
that was the play
he pushed
after.
him out of bounds, way after the
Yeah,
whistle.
yeah, no, that was the play after that he got called for unnecessary roughness
Yeah,
or
so
like
stupid.
unsportsmanlike conduct or something.
It was bad.
Either way, it's him and Jalen Jones as the stars of the secondary. Everybody else is new because again we had players opt out and lost a few good starters in the draft last year. I talked a lot of crap about how young we looked on offense, but you know what? With Watermeyer leading that offense as far as, hey, I'm the next man up on this offense, and you have Isaiah Spiller, everybody else is looking pretty good. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of dudes that are consistently dropping passes, not a whole lot of guys that are, making huge mistakes anymore, like especially in the special teams like we saw week 1. There's really not any of that anymore. And so I think we cleaned it up, especially in week 3 against Florida. We just got to keep that energy.
Keep the momentum.
Keep the momentum. Again, the big question is just keeping it up, having big wins. There is no longer any room for a 17-15 game.
No.
Or 17-13 game against a Vanderbilt team. There's no more room for that. We have to play like we know we can play, and that's it. And there's again, and this is what you see, right? Because in this game against Florida, we really only had 1 turnover, really not a lot of penalties, and that's what's been stopping us.
Mm-hmm. I heard the refs were bad.
passes.
I wasn't really paying attention, but people were yelling at the refs.
The refs were bad. There was some calls for unsportsmanlike conduct and stuff like that.
That was the one I saw.
But yeah, I mean, there's no way getting around that. You're always going to play refs that are goofy like that. But yeah, I mean, again, when you don't turn over the ball, when you take care of the football, when you stick to the identity of the team, which historically is a run offense, and Jimbo, I think, just tried to make it something that we aren't. And he put a lot of pressure on Kellen Mond, and I don't think Mond is prepared for that. So you give it to a talented 2-back set, Isaiah Spiller, Aniyah Smith, and you let Kellen Mond settle in for the rest. And that's the game plan now. We did it against a number 4 ranked team. So we just keep that posture going forward. No mistakes, no more turnovers, and we'll be good. We'll be good. I'm hopeful.
I'm excited.
I'm hopeful.
I think we're coming out with a dub next week.
This game made me excited to go back to games.
Yeah, for sure.
I was driving back this week. I was like,
for sure,
I don't want to go to this.
Yeah, well, because you're tired of going there, just not sure.
It's already sad enough because we've seen Kyle Field how packed it can be, and now Third Dick's just like a wasteland.
Well, interesting little segue there. Dan Mullen, who is ex head coach at Mississippi State, now the head coach at Florida, got mad or was really upset because our 25% capacity, which is almost a little under 20,000 students. Mm-hmm. He said that even with 25% or about 20,000 students, we were still a factor in the game, and he's now calling for full capacity in next game home in Gainesville against whoever they're playing, which is 88,000.
Yeah.
We don't get to go back on the field for midnight yell.
No, we do on the front row though.
Yeah, but that's still cool. So juniors in the corps were supposed to go on the field on midnight yell, and we just
that's cool.
Just mess around. It's a fun night, but now we didn't get to do that, but now we can go in the front rows supposedly.
Okay, good.
I just got reminded of that.
But yeah, so Dan Mullen's crying now because a little under 20,000 students made a difference in the ball game, and we did.
It was the recorded 12th man.
Yeah, we got really. Hey,
caused them 2 penalties just for on the extra point, or not the extra point, the field goal.
Yeah, we got really loud when they were trying to make a huge decision on 3rd and long. Yeah, and they couldn't. The lineman couldn't hear.
What's he saying?
Him making an audible, so they had to call a timeout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's with 25% capacity. And now he wants full capacity in Gainesville next week, which is 88,000. That's a stupid trade-off.
The pre-recorded 12th man.
Yeah.
Whoop.
All right. Just because we wanted to mostly talk about SEC football.
Yeah. And he's got a lot with that 9/11, right?
That's a big part.
That's a good part.
We're fixing to wrap this up. I just wanted to say prayers out to Mr. Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm. I just saw the video of that.
Went down today. Yeah. you know, when a starting quarterback, especially Dak Prescott or a guy like Dak Prescott, who really nobody has a bad word to say about ever, you know, he had to deal with a lot in the offseason with the passing of his brother, and he apparently had some sort of thing with his mental health that he's kind of trying to walk out of. But any sort of starting quarterback that you see around that, like the league, when he goes down in a way that person, you know, went like the way he did, you know, it kind of rattles through everybody. Speaking of which, Alex Smith is back. He had his first completion today. After y'all know who Alex Smith is? He was the Redskin. He was the quarterback for the Redskins 2 years ago, who had a compound fracture in his shin.
Yep.
From J.J. Watt, and he almost had to they almost had to amputate his leg. Because it got like septic. He went septic, and like he was like almost like lost his life on top of losing his leg.
J.J. Watt almost killed him. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, and interestingly enough, the day that happened, you remember? I mean, y'all have seen like The Blind Side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you remember the opening scene in The Blind Side?
Yes.
It's the play against like Lawrence Taylor,
and he just
that
presses the dude down.
So again, that was another compound fracture from Lawrence Taylor when he made that hit. Like the exact same day, like I don't know how many years it was, but like it was a year anniversary of when that happened is when Alex Smith had the exact same compound fracture happen to him.
Dang.
And so then today, like when Alex Smith returns and has his first like completion, that happens to Dak Prescott. Like basically the same injury. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's a weird thing. So as soon as Alex Smith returns from his...
Sounds like government stupid to me, man. That's all I'm saying.
That's a little too
Government is lying.
coincidental.
Hey, we're going to get into that. But yeah, so prayers up for him. So Chiefs took their first loss today against the Raiders.
Yep.
And if you're watching fantasy, I would put Devin Waller as your number one tight end. I think there's nobody better for volume. There's nobody better. No, I haven't. There's nobody better for volume. There's nobody. I benched him too, but he's doing some great things.
Okay, weird flex.
Also, Seahawks remain undefeated, and Russell Wilson has the best deep ball in the league right now. Clutchest performance at the end. They're losing to Minnesota last seconds of the game. Throws a bomb to Mr. DK Metcalf from Ole Miss. And dude's a freak of nature, and they win against Minnesota. Dallas, Andy Dalton comes in after Dak Prescott goes down. They beat the Giants. And now, in the worst division in the NFL, the Cowboys are leading over the Eagles and the Giants and the Redskins. So,
how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, how about them Cowboys, wherever that was.
They barely pulled off today, right? They won a couple of times, right?
Yeah, it was close. You know, we always do bad against the Giants for some reason, and the Giants now are 0-5. But
well.
I mean, we always do so bad against them.
I think that's in Arkansas.
Either way, that's all for sports this week. We'll keep you posted on how A&M is doing and everything else in the world of football. Josh,
I had a funny anecdote that I just wanted to use as my segment this week.
Okay.
You'll get a laugh out of it. Smith already knows what I'm talking about, so I'll keep it a little short so we can get into 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
You already know it. Ever since I've been dating my girlfriend, I started getting into anime.
Yeah.
And I watched an episode of this show while I was the week before school started called Food Wars.
Okay.
And I think I probably told you about this. It's this kid and his dad run this diner, but his dad closes the diner so he can go do his own thing, and the kid is in the top culinary school with a 10% graduation rate. One student graduates a year.
Okay.
And
wait, is this
is an anime.
Okay.
And so
I don't know if you're watching the Food Channel and stuff.
No, this isn't actual. That'd be interesting if it was real.
Yeah, it would be a good show.
But everyone in the show, they cook so good that when someone tastes their food, they climax. They get this out of body experience.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Oh wait, you have showed me this before.
Yes, yeah. This one grandma tastes this mackerel patty, and she's brought back to her teenage years at a Camp Lake.
Oh no!
And she's like, I need you to warm me.
Oh, stop! Okay.
And it goes like that, and it's not full.
Why are you watching this?
The plot.
that was my big reveal. That was my big reveal. I've been watching it. I've been in between. I was like, oh, do I watch Food Wars or Korra? But when every time
How do you like Legends of Korra?
I like it.
You like it?
But anyway, there's always some
Okay.
dude that's like, "Hey, we watching Food Wars today," and it's
Who?
this guy.
Shut up.
Swear
Oh
to
wait, do
God.
you like it?
Dude, it's
We
good.
both-
I like it a lot.
Why?
Okay, look, I know.
Are
I
you
know.
into anime?
No.
He's only ever watched
I'm not.
Avatar before.
Okay.
I was like Avatar. That guy's,
is
that's not an anime.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
it's just-
that's like the only like kind of anime I've ever watched was Avatar. It's a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you showed me Food Wars, and I thought it was a joke, and we all like laugh at it and stuff like that. Then we watched the next episode, as a joke, and then then we watched the next episode. Then we watched the next episode.
Wait, what do you like about this show?
The plot is so good.
Plot? Okay, what is the plot?
All
that
right,
makes it
all
great?
right,
Please,
all right.
Without
So,
going into this, I want to
and,
hear
like,
about
I'm-
9/11. So if we
Yeah.
I need to understand.
It's just because I had a lot of friends that watch Dragon Ball Z and like Naruto and stuff like that. I can't get into that stuff. I
Yeah,
think I don't like people screaming at each other and they're just like like a 12-year-old kid just like yelling all the time and like the filler episodes. I just could never get into it. But this is like every episode's like different and it's good.
But no, this dude's coming out in the hallway. He just challenged the 7th seat in the Totsuki 10 to a food war.
Wow.
Dude, it's so good, though.
You're a weeb now.
No, I'm not.
No,
definitely not.
One
a weeb.
is curious.
Definitely not a weeb.
Me and
it's
Anderson are gonna run
I
an
don't
experiment on him when we're done with Food Wars.
I don't know. Hang on.
Because I'm not that guy. I promise. I've always spit on
This
those
dude
people.
in the hallway last
No, I'm
night.
not.
Okay, we've talked about this. Anime is the gateway to hentai.
Yes.
Okay. So my question to you
This
is,
has hentai in it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bonus.
So I feel like every weeaboo is into that stuff, and you're now into an anime that has hentai
That openly
in
has-
it somehow.
That's what confused me. I was like, this isn't just like, Naruto's like, oh, casual anime.
yeah.
It got tentacles in it. Like,
It's not that bad.
episode,
It is weird.
Dude, he showed-
Episode
he sh-
1.
No, he showed. He
It
showed
is
me-
weird.
he
But
showed
the
me
first episode is
episodes.
probably the worst part.
So every episode, people are like.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
but it's not like.
that's
So
almost.
is this like a universe where like everybody is doing like everybody?
No.
No, it's like
Everyone
the
just
cool thing
cooks
is
that
it's like
good.
realistic food. Like it like
oh yeah,
it's like different the techniques and stuff that they use like to make it
and
different.
not
It's actually like real life food.
Not like if
Okay.
you heat it, it's gonna get cooked. They're like, you can use pineapple juice as a way to quickly tenderize the meat and break down the proteins and enzymes in it and make it fork tender. And then you look it up and it's like, oh my god, people actually do that.
yeah,
like,
no, and because it's not like dragon scales soup or something like that. It's not something stupid. It's like
Okay.
realistic
Yeah.
food, which I like, and it's like just a different plot and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's
like
a
they
cool
spent
co-
a whole half the
it's a cool
episode was
concept.
explaining like A5 Wagyu, like why it's so good.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, it'd be a good show. Like if it was like a real life, like a top culinary school, like for high school students, and like they were all competing, and only like 2 people will graduate, and they go to work these.
Yeah, but not turning it and making it sexual. I
But
think
you've
that
never
would
had
not- that
food-
wouldn't
you've
be
never
That's
had
the bad
food
part. That's
that
the only
good?
bad. That's the only withdrawal of it. It's like
I ha-
10%. All right, listen, bro. All right, there's a thing called the barbecue fries, okay? And it's a whole basket of fries, like fresh cut fries. I remember because I'd be in the back just cutting fries, okay? And it's real like fresh potatoes, fresh fries. Put them in the fryer. Nice like beautiful seasoning on it, okay? Cheese and like chopped brisket, and you put like the tangy sauce, the sweet,
tangy sauce.
yeah, the sweet and smoky sauce and the spicy sauce.
We've
You gotta
never
mix
been
it.
here.
Yeah, I know you've never been here. I'm trying to, I'm trying to describe it to y'all. I'm trying to describe it to y'all. Pour it on there, and the cheese melts because the barbecue sauce is hot, and it's not one of those vinegary barbecue sauces. It's a real thick one. It's a nice thick barbecue sauce.
Yeah, yeah.
And you mix it all up, man. And dude,
This is how they talk in the show.
Yeah, I'm sure
That is
he's
a-
taking notes from it.
that is
How
an
far?
experience.
How
All
far are
right.
y'all into this?
We're
almost
done
on
with
season
season
one,
1,
yeah.
and then season 2, the second plate.
Isn't every season like 35,000 episodes?
No,
Like,
that's normal animes because they have filter.
That's why I don't like that
filler.
either. That's why I don't like regular anime either. This one's nice and short.
wait,
I
what-
think the
why?
closest thing I've had to a sexual experience with food was my first Chili's 3 for $10.
Hey, yeah, the price alone,
yeah.
bro. The price alone will get you going.
No,
Y'all
for
have
real.
issues.
No,
Y'all have
okay.
issues,
That
dude.
steakhouse in San Antonio, whatever it's called,
Chamagaucha?
Chamagaucha.
Yeah.
The first time I had meat from there, I remember being like, "Oh, this
Now,
is good."
I've been like euphoric.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, but not like in the episode that he showed me.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
was-
happened.
no, it was.
That's what happened. So that's why I'm confused because
No, it wasn't like that.
it was
But it was
euphoric. Yeah, you had the-
euphoric.
and
It's
you're like-
definitely euphoric.
Yeah.
There was definitely endorphins going off. through
Yeah,
my
you're
body
just like,
telling me,
oh
"Hey,
my
I really
God."
like this. but it's
You
not
come out of your
like-
body. It's like a lucid
not-
dream.
Yeah, it's not
You
like
see your
it's-
body in there eating it. You're just like,
I was hovering above myself,
Yeah, but it's
watching myself sing.
okay, but it's I've never been like, oh my god, now I want to like reproduce because of this food.
No, they don't want to. They just.
it's euphoric.
What do you?
No, look, don't take it. Don't take what he says literally. Okay, they don't. They
No,
don't.
I've seen the show. I know that's what.
That first episode was bad.
No, but they did.
That's
they
like-
just-
that's the
they
worst
just-
thing.
Did you
No.
show me the first episode? I don't
Yes,
even know if
that
that.
was-
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Like there was.
Okay.
that's the worst
Okay,
part.
okay, no. There's one where it's a sumo wrestler and he eats the food, and he doesn't have like a sexual experience. He's like the food is so good. It's like being manhandled by a champion sumo wrestler,
See, no,
and while he's
that-
eating
no,
it, he's getting
see-
smacked.
See, yeah, that's not. That's not euphoria. That's
His euphoria though. You like their food's so good they experience their euphoria.
Yeah,
Oh,
you get
it's
taken
just-
back to the. It's
no,
like
no,
listen,
most of
prime
them is
example.
sexual.
Perfect example. Ratatouille.
Yes,
no,
yes,
no,
yes,
no.
yes.
no.
That is,
Yes.
Oh my
He
god.
eats the ratatouille and he like
And
you
he
zoom
goes
into his
back-
eyes. He goes back to the like, it's euphoria. He goes back to his little
Yes,
grandma's
that-
house,
no,
little
that is
Italian
it.
little town, or French town,
Stop.
village, little
Stop.
village.
That's not sexual, bro.
It's not. No,
Euphoric.
it's not
Euphoric.
sexual. It's
Euphoria,
euphoric. No, you cannot take what he says literally
No,
like
but
that.
that's what happens.
Look, remember, hey, 25%. Remember that? 25%. All right, 25%.
Another girl, she eats the food, and she like her euphoria is like swimming and going onto a beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would understand that more than getting
Yes.
slapped.
The
sexually.
first episode is like a kick in the face.
It's like,
that was pretty bad.
That's
That
what
turned me off,
That's
too. I was
what
like,
we
no.
doing.
Yeah, I know. But like, that's the worst episode. Besides that, it's not that bad.
Okay.
They have some really funny titles like the demon of food, the god
God
tongue.
Yeah.
The god. Yeah, that's all right. Well, it's enough of that. Jesus.
It's good.
God.
Don't hate
Dude,
it.
I didn't even make that
Come
comparison.
back until you try it, bro.
It is Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Ratatouille is the prequel to
No,
Food Wars.
Yeah.
No.
That
please.
little scene he has.
No.
where- that's literally how it goes.
That's
They're
a
like,
child's movie.
but
great movie by the way.
Whoa.
But they take the bite and then they like have that, and
Yeah.
then they're in their euphoric experience.
I
And
get
then,
that, but you're making euphoric somehow sexual. That's
It's
not the same thing.
Sexual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for
It's
some
more
of them, it is.
euphoric.
Dude,
Some people
okay,
it might be sexual.
What's the show called?
Food,
Food
Wars.
Wars.
Okay, y'all go sound off in the comments whether you think
Skip
I'm
the
right.
first episode. Go to the second
No,
one.
no,
No, you
no.
need that to understand his
Okay,
like,
fine.
why am I here, Dad?
Yeah.
Because that's part of the drive of the first 3 episodes. He's like,
Watch
why
the
am-
recap at the beginning of the
He's
second
like,
episode.
why am I even here, Dad? And then he's like, so I can be like you. I get it now. Dude, the dad's food is so good. This monk traveled from like the Himalayas to like his setup restaurant in New York. He's like, I'm going to throw in my vows for your food.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to eat the food in this.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it tastes like absolute garbage. They're lying to you.
Well, it's cartoon food,
Yeah.
so it can't be.
Okay, let's.
like a
I want to
Krabby
hear about the
Patty.
government
Sorry.
lying to me. I want to hear about the government lying to me right
Oh,
now. Right
part
now.
two.
Right now.
No.
True. The crash.
All right.
That was a lot of air.
Okay. Where did I leave off last time?
Well, we talked about.
Tell me what you learned.
Okay, so here's the biggest takeaways from me. First of all, we went into the legal document, PNAC, I think. Was it? Is that right? PNAC?
Yes, it's part
Yes. Okay, and there that document basically saying that the road to like our like goal for America is like really short unless we have another Pearl Harbor, basically.
Yeah. Say
a
like
year-
the road to being the world's superpower again,
Yeah.
and like overlanding like way in front of everyone else.
Yeah.
It's a very long and tedious and expensive one unless
We do
something
9/11.
happens.
Yeah,
There's
unless we
actually a
have
quote that I want to read from Martin Luther King, but I want you to keep telling me.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Martin
So-
Luther King was in on it?
No. I'm gonna read you this quote,
Okay.
but I want you to keep telling me. what you
Yeah.
meant.
So, and that document was signed like a year to the month of the 9/11 attacks, and then there was this. Then after that they started like this training thing. I don't remember what the training thing was called, but
Vigilant Guardian.
Vigilant Guardian. They had this thing called Vigilant Guardian where like they wanted to protect like the places that actually got attacked on 9/11, like the Capitol, the Twin Towers, the White House, and there was something else, but the Pentagon.
Yep, in the Capitol building.
Yeah, in the Capitol building.
The thing about the Pentagon today, you got to talk about that.
Oh well, I'll get into that.
Okay, and then but then there was that, and then they had like a flight called Flight 11 in the simulation, but the real plane that went down was Flight 11. And then like on the day they were out like training, and there was something weird that happened with Flight 11 in the simulation. But at the same time, in real life, the real Flight 11 like was actually being hijacked, and so they weren't in the area to fix it. And even if they were, they probably would have thought it was a simulation because there was an actual Flight 11 in the simulation. So from last episode, the biggest takeaways was that there was a lot of coincidences that I never even knew about that raised some eyebrows because, first of all, if like I'm still a skeptic, but I'm not naive enough to say like.
You're a logical person, man.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna.
There's no way.
We have a buddy like that who denies everything. Anything like you gotta like the government has lied to you before.
Definitely. Well, that's the thing. Like with Project Blue Book, like all that stuff is enough to say, okay, this isn't.
Yeah, it's
declassified.
declassified in your face.
This isn't far fetched. Like if they were threatening to shoot up schools and like movie theaters and stuff. Like, dude, they could definitely.
Yeah, and this is a super in-depth version as well. Like. There are multiple theories. This is like the most in-depth one. Yeah. Like we mentioned last time, the unrealistic one. There's like the hologram theory, which I think is a bunch of BS. There's also the theory where this stuff was real, except the Bush administration knew it was happening and thought this was like, oh, this is our chance to rebuild America. Yeah. And there's this quote I want to going back to. Wait,
so is that what this one is?
No, this one's the one where it was a government coup. It was an American coup.
Okay, I got you.
Meaning that, that was straight up America was planning this.
Gotcha.
So a quote by Martin Luther King, that was in the documentary actually, so I saw it today. I saw another YouTube video today.
Okay.
Refreshing my memory.
Yeah.
It says, wars are poor chisels for carving out peaceful tomorrows. Mm-hmm. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Meaning that, in order to make America great again, up in that high rank hierarchy and being a world superpowers, we had to start another war, Iraq War, or have another Pearl Harbor, like 9/11.
Listen, man, the military-industrial complex is a real thing.
Yeah, no,
like war makes money, like you said on the last episode. That's true.
Sure does. Yeah, shoot. So, go back on that Blue Book thing too. So during the Vigilant Guardian thing, what happening? They were putting like different. Military goes all out on these scenarios, like plans everything and like. Has people write all these letters and stuff that are like fake letters, but like they're meant to be taken as real for the training aspect.
Yeah.
And guess who was on the cover of one of the letters and one of like the main suspect to be like
Osama bin Laden.
Bin Laden. Yeah.
Kerima.
Yeah. So they knew he was. They knew he existed before the 9/11 attacks.
Right.
But they said that this guy is our hypothetical terrorist leader. Who is going to do this hypothetical hijacking to attack the hypothetical targets.
Well, I was thinking about this too this week because, obviously we have social media now and it connects like the world all together. Mm-hmm. But back then, like in early 2000, like late 2001.
Still newspapers, baby.
Yeah. Like the internet was in its like
infancy.
Like it was being conceived and cell phones weren't even really a thing. I mean, if anything, they were like really huge, like they were still the brick phones, and then they still had if you were really up there in the like elite, you had like a
flip phone,
really crappy, like I don't even know if BlackBerry was a thing back then, but close to it was BlackBerry or like Razors or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those weren't out yet, but yeah, like so like back then, like obviously we had intelligence, I would assume over there because of oil, like we had interest in oil already, but like. What intelligence would we have had on this dude in BFM?
Because we made him.
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're on the side of like a skeptic and you're saying, oh, well, we got that information, like we got that name from like Intel, but like, how good was our
terrorism? Is always like radical, radical Islam's always been a thing over there in like the Middle East.
And there
has been terrorist attacks before. The largest one to date is still 9/11, but there was like small, and the rational like devil's advocate of the whole conspiracy theory thing is that there were I'll kind of talk about it today too, but there were like bomb attempts on the World Trade Center previously.
Yeah.
By people that were associated with Al Qaeda
and
stuff like that. So it could have been like it could have been another coincidence, or like the devil's advocate saying that 9/11 was actually a The full on like exactly what the government tells you it was, like a full on terrorist attack, like that. I could see that based on, and we'll talk about how the CEO, or like the owner of the towers pretty much got terrorist insurance like not too long. I think we talked about it a little bit last time. But that's rational. You can say like, you know, you knew it was coming. But that's also, again, you can rationalize that by saying that there has been bomb attempts on the World Trade Center before by terrorists.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, we'll get into that. I have a question about the CEO thing though, but we'll get into it.
All right. So, let's start back with the hijackers. There's 19 total hijackers. Okay. So one of the leaders, Haraj,
Don't even try.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, don't even give him credit.
No. Was the so-called leader of this, attack and whatnot. And go back to his logbooks and like he came to America to be a commercial line pilot, and the dude couldn't even fly a Cessna, supposedly from his via instructors in logbooks. Right. Couldn't pass a single course. Right. A Cessna's a really small plane for people who hadn't. It's those little out there at Easterfield, like little privatized planes, like little bitty like propeller. Yeah. People don't know that. Could barely fly one of those. So we go fast forward a little bit to the Pentagon. Right, there were 0 surveillance cameras released like after it struck the Pentagon. So there was one. He saw it today too. It was like a side angle, and so it was 5 frames long, and I don't know if this was actually part of the documentary I watched, but I didn't see a plane at all. Did you?
I didn't see one either.
It's 5 frames. It happens really quickly. I mean, the plane's traveling at 540 miles an hour, which I understand. It couldn't all be captured, but you would at least see like a shadow or something like that.
Either the nose or the tail or like
something.
It going in the building, but no, it's just one frame nothing, 1 frame explosion.
Yeah. So
like
that's one
big
thing.
Explosion.
This is the attack on the Pentagon?
Yes, I believe it was Flight 77 who was attacked the Pentagon.
Okay.
And if you, from a terrorist point of view, you would want to get as many casualties as you could, right? Mm-hmm. Well, as many casualties from a logical person who's actually thinking, you would say, okay, I'm going to get right on top of it. I'm going to nosedive right in the middle of it, kill all those people. But he crashed into the part, supposedly, but he crashed into the part that was just a few days from finishing, renovations on the most secure part of the Pentagon, like most protected. Like it's supposed to withstand a terrorist attack. Yeah. And it's like the most reinforced part of the whole Pentagon. He hit that part, which is really weird. Mm-hmm. And besides, excuse me, goodness. Excuse me.
You're right.
Yeah, there's like no part of any of the frames where there would be something where you go, there's the plane. Mm. Like you can't nothing. There's no nose coming in. There's no tail in the building.
I mean, could that be? Because again,
it could be going because it's going that fast. That's just something I noticed. I was like,
this isn't like 1080p 4K CCTV. Like this is like.
I know, but you would think you'd see like a blob somewhere of like.
And you'd also think like the Pentagon is like one of the most protected places in the country. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a military hub.
Yeah.
And they'd have more security cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they just hadn't released it.
Yes.
I know they do. They only released this one, and from a gas station and a hotel. But
wait, so the video that you're talking about isn't actually from the Pentagon? It's from a gas station?
No, it's from the gate of the Pentagon.
The gate of the Pentagon.
Oh, but I wonder what the frame rate on this camera is, though. I mean, again, it's 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a coincidence. It could be like a shitty camera.
I didn't really see the hotel or the gas station. Was there a plane in those? Or
no, you couldn't see anything. You saw like smoke and people were running. But yeah, and also, so going back to the pilot, like the Pentagon is not a huge building. It's, a couple. I mean, I don't want to guess, like 15, 14 stories high, maybe, if that. It's not a very tall building. I've seen it before. Compared to the World Trade Center, it's 100-something flights. Yeah. So from a person who couldn't even land, and to pilots, to experienced pilots, the flying of a Cessna, a small plane, is equivalent to like parking a car, like driving and parking a small car, like super basic. A 16-year-old could do it. Yeah. Right. And he couldn't even do that well. It barely passes logs. But somehow he can fly this 757 Boeing at like a certain angle of like negative 300 degrees at a certain going 540 miles an hour. He hit the angle of the plane coming down hit 5 light poles, and the light poles that it hit was meaning that it had to like be flying like 3 feet above the ground for a total of like 4 or 5 seconds before hitting it to the Trade Center where it hit. And that's something that's like supposedly near impossible to do.
Well, okay, so
from an inexperienced pilot, for sure.
So there you go, right there, though, because he hit light poles.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a plane.
Yeah, I think there was a plane.
Oh yeah.
Because if you hit light poles, it's like if they did just put a bomb in the freaking and blew it up, like
they had some dude knocking them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually have a friend, old friend of mine, like back in 5th grade. His name is Jonathan, I think. His dad's an Army general. He was actually in the Pentagon when it happened. He was like, yeah, no, there was a dead ass plane. So, you know, I'm not tripping about that plane. There was definitely a plane.
I felt that.
All the planes that happened in 9/11 were real planes carrying real people.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the way, the angle that it was hitting the Pentagon is nearly impossible to maneuver, being, for one, nearly impossible for an experienced pilot.
I see, because if you're coming from like up here, it's kind of
and you have to go and flatten out like you're almost going to land, and then fly nice and even, like 3 feet above the ground, without touching it or anything. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Beginner's luck.
No way. And then the air traffic control people who
just
were
like the simulations.
Yeah, the air traffic control people that were actually watching this happen, like dipping in and out of radar, said it was moving so fast it was like a military plane. They thought it was a military plane, and they had a sense of relief. They were like, "Oh, thank God!" You know, the F-16s scrambling to go to D.C. to protect our nation's capital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it ended up being that 757 or supposed 757.
Okay, so if it's near impossible, then the question then becomes, well, then it couldn't have been one of our guys, because if it's near impossible.
Wasn't there a bunch of employees, like government officials, on that plane?
Yeah,
they were going through the list of people.
Like who did it? If it's impossible.
See, it's impossible for an inexperienced pilot to do it for as much training as he had.
I got you.
It's like doing a barrel roll in a 757. Like it's possible, but you only do it once. You know what I mean? And it's just very, very difficult to do. Now, theories are out there about how it could be remote controlled, or it could have just been a military aircraft that happened, or
it was
a
the
drone
Red
or anything
Baron.
Like that.
It was Amelia Earhart.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's where she came out of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
In that plane.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't know. Yeah, it's hard. I'm not smart enough to talk on that topic. Like, to go on that topic.
I don't know anything about
torsions and stuff
planes.
like that.
I don't know anything about
flight.
Yeah.
But in the passengers of actual 9/11, like what he was saying earlier, there was a lot of government officials on those planes, which is coincidence, but
no,
they
went through the one I was watching with them today. They went through like the flight. They were like top ranked people in Boeing, Lockheed Martin, the Air Force, the Navy, some dude's wife.
Yeah,
not like some random.
some random.
Well, it is weird though, because if you like, if we're trying to say that the government, like, we set this up as a country, like, why would we put our own high officials on these planes, knowing full well that
they knew something,
or they're just trying to cover their butt and be like, "How? There's no way we did this because we put our dudes on there."
It's like the episode of The Boys.
Yeah, you asked Anderson about his Halloween costume.
All right. Yeah,
I don't want to break the mood, but it's funny.
But anyways, yeah, it's weird stuff. Like that's just the Pentagon, for example. It's not really too in depth with that, but it's just kind of weird how inexperienced. Because I mean, these pilots were nothing.
Yeah.
And I was also watching a guy today. His name was, I can't remember his name. He was talking about how it was kind of like rather quick that we knew who the hijackers were as the plane hit.
Yeah, no, that's
what you said about the passport.
Yeah, if you're ramming a freaking plane into a building at 500 something miles an hour,
it's
like,
just
you're gonna vaporize, dude. Like just based on pressure alone, like, you're gonna be like vaporized, no doubt. So like, the fact that his passport just like ended up on ground zero. Like,
did he go
full attack? Yeah, like.
Yeah, so going into that, United 93 was the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. You know, the one that supposedly they took it back over and they crashed it into the field or whatever.
Yeah.
So
was there any survivors from that?
No. That thing was still going 400 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So like, the passengers didn't fly it in. It was that the passengers were about to get the cockpit and they were just like, we're going down it right here and kill everybody anyways.
Yeah.
And so because like that flight was flying belly up, inverted for a little bit.
Wow.
Again, an inexperienced pilot can do this. It's kind of weird. But, yeah, it was flying. It was like nose diving this way, going this way, trying to get the passengers to like fall or go back to their seat and whatever. He bellied up, and they were about to get to the cockpit, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to crash it. Something like that. Because I think they would have been survivors if they'd, like, try to land. If they actually got in the cockpit, killed the people or whatever. But anyways, that hole that was there, like, was not that large for a plane that size. So eyewitness accounts, right? It was the hole was about like 20 feet wide and like 10 feet long.
What hole are you talking about?
The hole where the plane
the
crashed,
crater.
like the divot, the crater that left in the earth.
No, I see. Okay.
Everything was disintegrated, gone. Mm-hmm. Even the indestructible parts of the airplanes, like part of the engines and stuff, that had like the serial number connected to the airplane, gone. Mm. Also, what else is fishy is that they supposedly found another crash site 6 miles away from where that plane impacted from the same debris, which is really weird because I thought it was shot down at first, which is could be why it could be 6 miles away, but supposedly it crashed instead.
So they shot it down, and some pieces of debris.
That's my theory.
Fell off, and then
so it crashed, and then they said that we have a second crash site that has debris 6 miles away from this location connected to the same plane. Which is weird if it's crashing, because there's no way that a piece is going to hit the ground and then fly 6 miles away.
Is there a divot mark on that second location? Or
I don't know. I really didn't see it.
Okay.
Apparently it's just debris.
Because, again, if we're talking about a plane weighing, like, multiple tons, like, hitting the ground at, like, half 1,000 miles an hour.
Make a crater.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some pieces of that are going to go flying 6 miles. Like, that's not crazy.
Well, from experts and stuff like that, it's like it's usually spread out around 100, 200 yards.
Yeah, well,
at the most 200 yards.
That's not 6 miles, but
yeah, 6 miles is a long way, man.
Yeah, 6 miles is a long way.
And so, like, only thing I'm thinking of, like, why 6 miles? Either A, like, I don't know, they just planted it there, or they're lying about it, or something like that, or B, it got shot up, like, it got shot, like, when I was 16,000 miles in the air,
right?
And it just spread out. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they referenced a plane in Turkey, where the plane started falling to pieces in the air, and it was spread out over a couple miles before it crashed and killed everybody. So it was a
That's
coincidence.
what I would think. Or, like, maybe the maneuver just tore it up as it went down.
Yeah, but there was nothing left. Like, and they started pulling these other plane crashes. Like, I think the deadliest plane crash in the world was a Chinese plane or a Korean plane that killed over 521 people on that one plane.
Yeah.
But they recovered like 80 bodies, some still strapped to their seats, and luggage and stuff like that. There was nothing of this plane. Let me show you a picture of it, honestly.
Okay.
Because I want you to see it. There was nothing. I think they found a black box, supposedly, like 10 feet dug into the ground. But the weird thing...
10 feet in the ground?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's possible going, like, that fast. But the black box out of, like...
crater.
Yeah, I mean, the black box over, like, the engine parts, just kind of fishy to me.
So, like, you mean, like, they didn't get any bodies, any luggage?
There was just nothing. Yeah, that was the crash site. And there's, like, nothing there. You can see all right here. You can kind of see, like, the wings, though.
Yeah.
That's so small, though, it looks
like.
like.
See, it looks really... I don't know. It's a little fishy. There's one with a tail. I've never seen this one before. But the weird thing about it is that this whole thing was disintegrated, and there was not anything left of it, supposedly. And a few things. So they found passports. Was a Saudi Arabia driver's license of one of the hijackers, perfectly intact. 3 other driver's licenses of like some passengers, and then like a red bandana that was like perfectly not even charred. It was weird. And then they said that they found some pieces of it that were connected to the plane, like a part of the cargo bin, like a part of the door. And then a part of the engine, but they never specified where they found that.
So
they were just like, "This is part of it."
Okay, let's keep this going.
Or the time.
So, like, let's say this plane got shot, some debris fell 6 miles away from where it finally ended up, and it hit, like the fuel tank or something, and then this thing is like now a fireball. Yeah. And it's just it's already burning up. So when it lands, I mean, everything is burnt up.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it takes. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Like this one's kind of like this is like the on the edge stuff compared to what I'm about to get into.
Okay. Well, let's
the
get
actual
into
World
that.
Trade Centers. Yeah. All right. So we talked about the World Trade Center is actually collapsing. So World Trade Center is not just 2 buildings; it's around 7 buildings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that you have your first 2 twin towers. Okay, and then you have that collapse, and also there was also a third building that collapsed called Building 7 that collapsed around 5:30 that evening, compared to like the 9:30 and 10 o'clock that morning that no one knows about.
Yeah, I really have no idea about Building 7. I've heard that it fell, but I've never even seen Building 7.
I saw the video today, and it's like, why did it fall?
Yeah.
So there was a report about an artist. She had a PhD in something. She lived with like a physicist, and they saw the crashing of the 9/11. First, it brought up there's like a lot of references to other buildings, other skyscrapers that have burned for hours at a time. It didn't fall. Like there was even the World Trade Center burnt on the 10th floor or something like that for hours, and it didn't collapse. There was so many different. There was one in Los Angeles, I think, in particular. I'm thinking about that burned over 8 floors for a course of 18 hours, and it didn't fall. It didn't collapse. I mean, there was damage, but it didn't collapse.
Right.
So all those other things, but then they say that the cause of the collapse of the World Trade Center was the jet fuel, which doesn't make sense to me. This is a 110-story building. I don't like the buildings were made to be earthquake, resistant, storms, anything like that, terrorist. The structural basis of the World Trade Center, the 2 twin towers, were made to withstand something like a freaking bomb hitting it.
Yeah.
Or a commercial aircraft. Right? So they collapse at near free fall range, which meaning there's like no resistance. Because you would think if they collapsed, they probably would have hit each other's like floor, and it would have at least until the bottom, it would have almost free fell. Yeah. But like at least the top, it would have been like do, or maybe like fell sideways, and not falling straight down like a controlled demolition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they went to go, and she collected dust from it, as a memorial kind of thing, and gave it to her friend, and the friend was like, wow, that's kind of weird. I'm going to test it out. He's a physicist. He knows all this kind of stuff. He put it on like electron microscopes, stuff like that. And he found these little red particles in it, in the dust. It was like, what the heck? It's weird. So he goes in there, and it's a material called nanothermite. It's a bunch of organic compounds like carbons and hydrogen, something that's explosive when exposed to certain things, stuff like that. I think that was a coincidence, just one, but he got more and more dust stuff, and they all had the little nanothermite in it and stuff like that, which is highly explosive. And they did all these tests on it to make sure that that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. And so they were like, okay, well, how can you get this nanothermite like in all the building? Because in order to do that, you'd have to get it on all like the interior steel structure and stuff like that. Right. Well, one of the World Trade Centers were due for like some kind of renovation, like for some fire resistant stuff for the steel structure, or whatever. And it was under Turner's Construction, which was high-end government officials like the Turner's Construction CEO conducted this renovation a few days earlier before 9/11. Overall, like the steel elevator shafts and the interior of the actual World Trade Center, which is something you'd have to blow up in order to collapse a building. And conveniently, the floors that Turner Construction was on was the floors where the plane hit, which is kind of coincidental. But they did this whole renovation thing, and it's very, very fishy on Turner's Construction part about going and renovating the entire and fixing up the entire World Trade Center a few days before the actual 9/11 attacks.
Comes in and hits thermite those floors. Yeah,
you can see it. You can see the video. Like anybody who's not dumb saying it's kind of weird. From just jet fuel, like from just a fire that's burning they burned for like I think 20 or it was an hour, and then it was like a little over an hour that the fires burned over like the course of like 4 floors, and the whole building collapsed. Yeah, not sideways, and they both fell the exact same way, and they took the exact same amount of time for both of them to fall.
It looks kind of suspicious once you like have seen like if you look at how they tore down our old football field before they made Cal Field. It's like that. It's like a controlled one.
Now, yeah, and again, yeah, it's just weird stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that argument before. Like, obviously, it's a meme now. Like, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. That's like the meme thing. But I don't know. I think if I'm visualizing what this event would look like in my head, like, like planes hit, it burns for hours, and the steel becomes molten, and those floors would collapse like in free fall. But then I think I see what you're saying. Definitely like after like 20. I mean, because the heat is only up top. The floors at the bottom aren't in contact with that heat, so they're not like molten steel.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't fall in free fall unless like it just so happens that the weight of all of the floors above it would cause structural failure at that point. Then I can see that because it's really high up. So once those things are in free fall, they're now accelerating, and F equals ma.
Yep.
You have a growing mass per time. I mean, that's a lot of force coming down, especially if we're talking about free fall. Like if the tallest floors of the World Trade Center are falling and they're accelerating and they're gaining mass per time, I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of force. I could see that.
No, I get it too. But like, I mean, I'm thinking of like, nature is not perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, not every time. For one, both the planes that hit the South Tower and the North Tower hit at different parts, different floors,
right.
and they coincidentally both fell the exact same way.
See, and that's fishy too, because if they landed in the same spot, like the same type of elevation, then it would make sense that they fall at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they have the same variables. If you mix up the variables, they shouldn't have the same.
Take the
result.
same amount of time to fall.
Also, there's the argument of saying that like the point you're making about the lower steel structures weren't exposed to heat or anything.
Yeah.
So it must have been just purely the weight. And there's also the argument of why the World Trade Center collapses when that jet fuel just went everywhere, which is true. Obviously, you have 10,000 pounds of jet fuel, like literally, going and seeping down all the elevator shafts and the side of the buildings and stuff like that. But there's a firefighter's account actually that he goes in and it's like he remembers the people there saying that there was like an explosion at the bottom floor, and they were like, "Oh, okay, the jet fuel comes all the way down and explodes in the bottom floor once it's exposed all that oxygen or whatever."
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of fishy too. I mean, because you can see. There's videos when you can see the World Trade Center collapsing, and you can see like extra little explosions on the bottom floors right before they fall out.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like little like how controlled demolitions just like pew, pew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like that, like little small burst of force of little explosions on the way down.
Huh.
And there's not like so many of them where it's super obvious, but if you actually dig deep and look at the video, then it's there. And there's multiple accounts of eyewitnesses saying that they heard the explosion and they felt the explosion before the plane hit, or like right as the plane hit, like after the plane hit, they felt an explosion. And that's gonna bring me into the next topic, the World Trade Center set number 7.
That's weird.
It's weird, man.
That's so weird. I really don't want this to be true.
Yeah, but like,
it's probably not all true.
Yeah, but it can't all be not true.
Yeah, there's no way. There's a lot of, and this is not just me speaking out of my ass either. And this is not just people's. I'm nowhere near educated enough to even make a guess on it, and like, I'm just relaying information on what I've heard. But like the stuff that my sources where I've got my stuff have like documents, and eyewitness accounts, and like they're not
they're
BSing.
smart.
Yeah, they're smart. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
But Building 7
what's
was
Building 7?
Yeah, so it is a I want to say 30-something story building, small building. About 200 feet away from the South Tower, I believe. Mm-hmm. Not too far, not too close, whatever. It's a good distance away from it. I mean, it's still close.
It looked
good
far.
Distance. Yeah, it's a good distance, but like, it's still pretty close, relatively. So that's a building where it's the Secret Service like hub is like the biggest office of the Secret Service and the CIA stuff in there. They got a lot of DOD and big environmental and stuff, like all these big organizations that work in there, right? And there's this man, I can't remember his name. Rest in peace, though. He's dead. But he was in there, and then the fire alarm system that day was on test mode, meaning that they wouldn't go off or something like that. I'm not even going to say anything else about that because I really don't know too much about that. It was just kind of a weird thing just for the day. Like, it wasn't a weird thing normally, but for the day that happened to be like that day, it was just kind of weird. But he remembers going up into the lobby, and it was perfectly fine. He was going up to get people because they were hurt, they needed help, whatever. Some of the debris would crash on the roof, on the upper floors, and so they got up there, and then they heard an explosion when they got up there. And they're like, what the heck? And they go back down, and the 8th floor and below is just like in flames. In flames.
Wait, what time is this? Is this
This is after both of them have been struck.
Okay.
Like a little bit after, before they collapsed.
Okay.
So yeah, they were like, they just heard these explosions down below, and he said, because he remembers like distinctly, the lobby was perfectly fine, nothing was wrong with it, a little bit of dust everywhere, but goes back up and goes back down, and the whole thing's in freaking flames. It's charred. Everything is just to dust.
Gosh, what the heck?
Yeah, and even make the argument on both the Twin Towers and this tower. Like when they collapsed, like it was dust. It was like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like fire does not make concrete into fine powder like it. You know, you saw it.
Yes.
He watched a little bit of it with me.
I watched this with them.
It's crazy. Like there were two very clear evidence. They both the people that were in there were like, yeah, there was definitely an explosion like that happened. And then you go and they get out of the building, thank God, because they were trapped in the 8th floor. And then the firefighters were like, hey, we're going to come get you. And then they ran off because the first World Trade Center collapsed. Yeah. The firefighters went back and were like, hey, we're going to help you. And they ran off again because the second World Trade Center collapsed, the Twin Tower. Excuse me.
This is the government trying to kill him. This is why he's sick.
Yeah, I'm getting black pilled, bro. Yeah, and then so they finally get out, whatever. Fast forward. Both Twin Towers, they're collapsed.
FBI, open up. No.
Yeah, probably. Both towers collapse, and then 5:30 in the evening, the 7th tower collapsed. They claim that it was the falling debris of the first and second Twin Towers made this tower collapse. There's also an interview.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Buildings don't just fall.
It looks so
And
sketchy.
there was a building number 4, 2, 5, and 6 were all right next to the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
And they got crap. You know, they got the brunt of all the towers on top of them. And they were like split in half, and like the roofs were caved in, and there was stuff all over it. But that structure was still standing. Like the steel structure was still standing. Like I'll show you pictures and stuff too. Like something that's like, here's the Twin Tower, the South Tower, and here's like building number 2, I think, or 2 or 4. And yeah, it was like split in half from all the debris from the whole tower getting hit on it. But at the end of the day, it was still standing. And then this one that's 200 feet away was just ultimately collapsed. And that one looks just like controlled demolition. That one's just straight down. Same thing again, straight in free fall. Straight free fall.
What the?
Yeah.
I've never even seen a picture of Building 7, bro.
There was also an interview with the BBC
I remember
reporter.
you told me about it, and then I saw the video today. I was like, oh, that's the building that fell? Yeah, look. Isn't that it falling right there?
Yep, that's it right there.
Yeah, look.
Look how like intact that building is. You see how like the debris and stuff on it?
And then it just fell.
And then that right there, because of the fires and the debris. This is the Twin Towers. The dust is like that's the collapse
whatever
towers.
fell on top of it made it all collapse. No.
Usually not anything that looks like it's on top of it, too.
No.
Is that it after, or is that the World Trade Center?
I think it's the World Trade Center. But anyways, afterwards, there was a BBC interview where, you know, the British news or whatnot was interviewing, broadcasting back to England. There's a video of this, so you can go look it up, saying that the World Trade Building 7 building collapsed, and it's standing right behind her.
Nuh-uh.
Swear. You go look at the video.
Watch this one.
Go look up the
I
video.
think I know what you're talking about. Which one?
She's like, Building 7 collapsed at this time, and she's broadcasting back to England, and Building 7 dropped behind her. Still standing.
Is that just like B-roll?
She said it collapsed.
It's not like she's like doing like a woman on the street thing.
No, she was a woman on the street. Yeah.
No way.
Swear. Oh, let's see.
Oh, that's weird.
Look up BBC.
That's what I put the story.
Okay, but then the question then becomes, why would some British broadcast network know about it and we don't?
Who knows? I mean, this might be just beyond America, though. It's compartmentalism, man. You need to know basis. I mean, you would think that like if you're gonna do something like this, you probably tell. I don't know. That's some questions. So that's what makes a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some questions just unanswered. Like you can't connect all the dots.
Yeah. Right.
You can bring up a lot of dots.
Yeah.
And connect some, but you can't connect
She
them all.
was a time traveler.
Yeah. I don't know.
She's a lizard person.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude?
Yeah.
That's
It's crazy.
so weird.
Building 7 is the weirdest coincidence of all. The weirdest thing about the whole 9/11.
What was
which
in
makes,
it? What was in it though?
What are you talking about? Like the
What was in Building 7?
More
like
offices, I guess.
yeah, documents and the DOD.
I don't know.
The DOD. Yeah, sorry. Military stuff. The Secret Service was based in there. DOD stuff.
The Secret Service was based out of Building 7?
Yeah, it was like Secret Service or CIA. One of them. It's really some. Yeah, they're like one of their office areas was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Like undercover? Was this like a
No, like they set up like they're building their office like.
I mean, I think it would be there because I know the training facility for the Secret Service is in Washington.
Yeah. But not in the World Trade. Like that's like financials.
World Trade Center is home to a lot of things.
Mm.
That's the entire economic,
Yeah,
portion
yeah,
of America,
right.
like all the corporate stuff at least.
But yeah, I gotta send you the video because it's just like there's the 2 twin towers, and then 7's like over here off to the side, and then it just collapses out of nowhere, and it makes absolutely no
That
sense.
doesn't happen.
Yeah, you should look up videos after the. Yeah, go look up videos online, decide for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Let's save the rest for part 3.
Yeah, that's all I got.
What are we at right now? Oh, perfect. That's good timing. Thanks. Well, we need to do the sponsors.
Yes.
So let's do that, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead. Start what's going on with Imperium Fitness.
Soon. That's all I got.
Okay, beautiful.
Busy. I'm busy, man, bro. I can't help it.
Stand the hell by.
Stand by. FNX Fit, you know all about it. We talk a lot about Imperium Fitness and their shirts. FNX Fit has all the supplements and other products that you use if you work out or if you enjoy being fit or healthy or vegan hashtag or whatever. Okay, they got protein,
AM, PM.
they got creatine, they got multivitamins, they got
CBD.
Yeah, they got they do have CBD. They have all sorts of weird proteins.
Horny goat weed.
Yeah, they do have horny goat weed, and it's
Krill.
but all natural ingredients, and most of the stuff that I've tried really works, and I can stand by the products. Also, if you purchase any item from fnxfit.com, a gallon of water will be sent to Africa. Now we've made this hashtag popular on the show.
Hydrate them kids.
Hydrate them kids, baby.
You gotta hydrate them kids.
Hydrate them kids.
You gotta hashtag hydrate them kids. You know what I'm saying? So every single purchase that you make, there is a gallon counter that will add up how many gallons that they've thrown out to these thirsty children in Africa. So we gotta hydrate. Yeah, they're tossing
Thrown
these
out.
things. They're freaking Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf just launching.
They will
these
throw
things.
away a gallon of water for everybody
They'll just pour it down the drain. Yeah,
right
no.
in front of them.
If you use the code THRONE, you'll get 15% off site wide. That's Throne.
Throne.
And tell us about Brio Bottle real quick.
Yes, Brio Bottle, the best shaker bottle on the market.
Absolutely.
It takes everything you love about your Yeti with
on.
everything that there is about a shaker bottle. The best part, it don't smell.
Oh.
It doesn't smell. Me and Smith have this problem where our shaker bottles will be like,
I've thrown away at least 6 in the past month just for like.
but no, I gotta get that one back from Austin because this one does not smell.
I
Like
give me one.
if you wash it out and everything, it's nice, clean steel. You know, you take care of it, it'll take care of you, and it won't stink.
Won't stink. No
And
stinky.
if you want one with 15% off, the code is _throne_room, and that's the Brio bottle, BRIO bottle.
Come on now. FNX Fit Brio Bottle. You know what it is. Guys, where can they find you?
ZSmitty _22 on Instagram, ZSmith22 on Snapchat, and ZSmitty _22 on Twitter.
JPink19 on Instagram.
Y'all know where to find me. Guys, go check out the Patreon. We're literally about to record a bonus episode here really quickly right after this. And it's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of good stuff on there. Okay, listen. If you don't want to become a patron, if you're a poor college kid like myself and us, then go share the podcast, go subscribe, go like the stuff. I'm not going to tell you how the algorithm works. You should know it by now. You should know it by now. I'm not gonna insult your intelligence. You know how to get people popular. So just do your thing, okay? Yeah. All right. Thanks so
Give 'em
much
what
for
the
watching.
people want.
Oh my God.